Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at NEO. This has been a member request on Discord. Why not come check it out? It's free to join. Link is in the description below. Let's get into the video and see. Okay, so the first thing that we need to deal with here is the fact that we don't have a lot of structure here to work with. It is very choppy and sideways. It's just been ranging all the way since 2017 here. Now, because of this fact, it makes it hard to place this in a Elliott-wave count. But what I'm looking to do here is potentially look at either this low being a point we could look to move away from, where we could look for an A, B, and a C and actually look to push to the upside. Alternatively, what we could be looking for is still being in a corrective move to the downside. So if we were going to argue that this was looking to be in a bullish case, what we would be looking for would be the potential of this being something like this, where this is a 5-wave move as a diagonal, then looking for this as a corrective move to the downside, and then looking for that potential of an additional move to the upside. Now, if we had to throw the fib onto this, a 1-to-1 could actually bring us up here towards this $232 area. Now, this would be bring us back into this high point here. Obviously, we don't have confirmation of this yet, and this can still be a few things. We're going to discuss this within the video. The other way we can look at this move is that potentially this move is still moving down in a correction, where actually this has been a flat correction here as an A, B, and then looking at this as a diagonal for the C wave. Now, the problem I have with this is this would have been a very big C wave here if it's the case. We could also argue that this A wave could actually be here, and this could be A, B, and C in this way, or actually it would rather be W, X, and a Y if you wanted to look at it in that way, in which case this would then be this B wave high. Just looking at the correction slightly different. Now, if this is the case, what we'd be arguing then is that we're looking for a 5-wave move, but we can see here that we don't really have good structure. What I'd want to see here for confirmation of this would actually be an additional drop to the downside. So the bearish scenario here would be actually looking for another drop to the downside. This 1-to-1 would actually be here at this $3.82. So we're going to get into this now. There is also the potential, because we don't have all the structure here, what we could even see is something much bigger than this, where either this is within a triangle or this is starting a triangle, where this whole move here could be an A, we could get a B, a C, a D, and E, and this could just remain range bound here. So we could actually see something like this play out. We can't really rule it out because we don't have enough structure. It is also possible this could be another 3-wave move making up part of the triangle, and then we could actually be maybe within a C wave or a D wave here. We don't really have that information at hand. Okay, so in the short term here, what I'd be looking for is a couple of things. So if we are looking at this move in this way, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, we'd be looking for this 4th wave here, and then looking for this potential of a 5th wave. So we've actually come up already to this 382. So potentially this could be done. Now, the move to the downside is not looking impulsive at the moment, and because of that fact, I am saying that we potentially are still within this 4th wave. And what we could actually see is that we could see something along these lines, where this becomes a W, this becomes an X, and then we'd be looking for another 3-wave move in this Y wave. Now, 1-to-1 would actually look to bring us up towards this 2302. However, we can see here that the 854 would actually bring us into this 50% line, and so would these 786. So this could be quite an interesting area if we do actually look to move up into this zone. So if we do look at this as a W, X, and a Y, what we'd be looking for here is another 3-wave move to the upside, A, B, and C, looking to bring us up into this higher area. Now, I do have a target box up here, which has some confluence, and inside this target box, what we do have is weekly and monthly naked points of control, sitting up here towards this 21 to this 2144. So I would be keeping an eye on this level if we actually do move up into this region. Now, if we are looking at this playing out as a W, X, and a Y, what we'd be looking for then is that potential of this 5th wave still to come down one more time. Now, the target area for this as a 5th wave would actually, depending on how high we come here, I'm going to go into that 50%, which would be that $20.16. What we could then see is actually this 5th wave target area would be here towards this $4.48 to this $2.82. Now, invalidation of this would come by crossing this 2560, and what we'd want to see here is we wouldn't really want to break too much higher than this 2161. If we break higher than this, then it makes it more likely that we're actually within a different structure here, and what we could see is that this is still within a bigger corrective move. Now, we could also argue here that if we wanted to argue the bullish case, where we were looking at this as a diagonal for 1, this is a WX and a Y, what we could then see is a push to the upside. So this would be looking at this as potentially an A wave, a B wave, and looking for that C wave to the upside, or alternatively this being 1, 2. Now, I'm not a fan of this as a wave 2 just because of the fact that it would be very complex for a wave 2. And typically speaking, wave 2s are simple. Now, if it is possible that we could see something like this playing out as a diagonal pattern from over here. So I'm going to come down here into the smaller time frames. And what we could actually see here, that if this is an A, B, and a C, what we could be forming is a bigger diagonal pattern to the upside. Now, invalidation of this would come by crossing this 22.79, also by dropping back down below this point of this $8.70. If we are looking at this as potentially looking to move up in a 3-wave move for this as a wave 3, what we could then see is basically this move here should just develop as a 5-wave structure. Now, if we are looking at this and we're going to say it's going to develop as a 5-wave structure, there's a couple of ways we can look at this move. So technically speaking, we can count this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 completed. There isn't any overlap here between this wave 1 and this wave 4. However, the wave 4 is very deep, so it is making me a little bit suspicious of this. And what I would be wanting to see here, if this is the case, is basically to see a bigger 3-wave move to the downside here, looking to actually target out this zone of this $10 to this 921. Losing this 921 would make it less likely that we're going to see continuation to the upside in this C wave or this as a wave 3. So what I'm looking for here is this could technically also be an A wave high, in which case this could just be A, B, and C. We see a move up towards this 1-to-1, which would be this 1286, and then actually look for continuation to the downside. So we're going to have to just monitor this level and see how these waves actually play out. Now, if this is looking to do this, we could need to be aware that if we do move up towards this 1533, we could have a bigger 5-wave structure here, which would mean that we would be looking for an additional 4th wave down towards this 1286 area, and then an additional 5th wave, which could look to push us as high as this 1709 to this 1598. Now, if we did see a structure like this where we form a bigger 5-wave move here, what we would be looking for is effectively a 3-wave move down and another 5-wave move to the upside, if we are looking at that possibility of actually having a diagonal here. Now, once again, 1-to-1, which we kind of cross, would be this 22.79. So if we see something like this, we can't move higher than that point as a diagonal. If, however, we want to say that there is actually extension within these waves, what we could actually see is something more along these lines here. We would be treating this slightly different. We would say this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, and they would be looking for another 1, 2. So effectively what we would be is within the yellow 3rd wave here. If this is the case, what we don't want to do is actually cross this $9.62, and we want to hold above this $10 range. If we do maintain this and we get a smaller 3-wave structure down, potentially down to this 618 area, which would be this 1031, though really even this 50% would do here towards this 1053. The thing is, what we can get sometimes is when we have a wave that is extending, the corrections may be shallow and might not reach these lower targets that we typically look for. So we need to just be aware of that. If this move has to actually push up towards this 1384, this would make me believe that we're actually extending out here, where we'd have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We'd get this 3rd wave up to this 1384. We'd see a 4th and a 5th towards this 1483 here. Then we'd be looking for that additional 5th wave potentially to this 1588 to this 1498, and then an additional 4th and a 5th, which could look to potentially take us up towards this 1751 to this 1613 area. So this is how I'm currently treating this move. If we are developing this as an extension, we can't lose this low. So this is where the key differences between these two different structures is this. If it's going to be a completed 1 or an A wave, what this can do is this can actually cross this low point. It doesn't matter. If this is looking to extend out in the way that we have it here as a series of 1s and 2s, we cannot actually lose this low, which would be sitting here once again towards this area here of this 962. Losing that would invalidate this count, but as long as we stay above that, we could actually start to see a bigger move play out here. Now what we'd want to see, if this is what's taking place, is as price starts to move up with this white 3rd wave, we'd want to see this volume starting to push up quite strongly as well. Now, this will be a first indication that we are potentially within a 3rd wave, and then what we'd want to see is confirmation by hitting this 1384. Now, until we actually hit that, we do have some other alternatives on how we can count this. We could count this as just a bigger corrective move to the upside, where this is just an A, B, and a C. This is an X wave here, and we could just see an A, B, and a C again to the upside, which means we could see this move up towards this 1194. Now, if we are looking for that possibility of continuation here, if we do see this additional C wave, which brings us up to this 1194, and we don't actually reach that impulsive target, what we could then see is a 3-wave move to the downside, finding support above this 928 area and between this 1017. We could look for the potential that this could in itself become an A wave. This would be a B wave, and then we could see a bigger C wave to the upside. So as long as we hold this 928, we could potentially look for this continuation. If we start to lose this, it becomes more likely that we are actually looking to break down already. Now, if we do start to break down, we need to be cautious, because if we do have a bigger break to the downside, and if I just throw this onto this high point here, down into this low point, and I'm going to go into that 1-to-1. So if we had this as a WX and a Y to the upside, if we started to break down here towards this zone of this 542, what we could then see is that price could actually start to form a bigger 5-wave structure. Now, what this would indicate is that from here we'd have a 1, 2, 3. We'd look for a 4th and a 5th wave to the downside. Now, this would actually look to push us down lower than this point, and this would tie in with the idea of actually having that 5th wave down, where we could actually be already looking to reject down for this lower range here of this $4.48 to this $2.82. So really, until we actually take this swing high here of this 14.28, we need to be cautious, because this could directly break down. However, for as long as we hold that that low here towards this zone of this $8.73, we can't really invalidate the idea that we could still see some upside come in here. Now, primarily, this is what I'm looking for. I think that we are still within a 4th wave here. It is possible that we could start to see this move extend out and become a more bullish move, but primarily, I think this is what is going on, just because the structure would be neater in this way. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. Like I said before, breaking up above this 2016 area would make it less likely that this count is still in play. If we start to break up here and consolidate above that level, it becomes more likely that we're actually going to see continuation to the upside. So looking at the CPR on the weekly, we are currently sitting above the central CPR lines. Now, it is possible that what we could see is a additional move up here, either into this S1 line, which is sitting at this 1153, this S2 at this 1218, or this S3 at this 1342. If we did see this move hold above these central pivot lines, it becomes possible for us to look for these target areas above here. Now, if we start to break down and we start to lose these levels, then it is possible that we could actually look to retest this R1 line here towards this 963, this R2 at this 838, and this R3 down towards this 771. Now, this would tie in that idea of actually looking to break down one more time here. So if we do start to break down in this way, this could actually be indicating that we are going to see that 5th wave play out. So that target area kind of lines up nicely with that. Now, if we want to talk about the monthly pivots, obviously these are only viable up till the 1st. What we would be looking for is the fact that we are interacting with these central pivot lines here. Now, we have rejected off this zone. If we continue to lose this level, what this could then indicate is that possibility of moving back down towards this R1 line, towards this 912, and this R2 line, which is sitting towards this 765. So if we are looking to break down here, you know, this could actually tie into that idea of looking to, you know, reject and actually push down one more time. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. The R3 line is much lower down here towards this zone of the 509, but unless there's something like a flash crash, I don't see that happening in a day. So it's not as likely that we will see a move down to there, but I would be interested to see if we actually move back into this level here. Okay, so treating this whole area as a range, what we can see here is that we've actually got support of this point of control again. Now, if we are looking at this, we always have to be aware that, you know, as long as we are above this point of control, there's always the possibility we could see a move back up to this value area high. Now, this value area high is sitting here towards this 34.74. However, we can also see here that on this next volume node that we've got here, we can see that we've actually rejected off this level. If we start to actually break down and lose this point of control, what we could see is actually an additional drop back down here, possibly back into this value area low. Now, if we do move back down into that value area low, we'll have to see whether we get a reaction. If we find support, we could potentially look to push to the upside. However, we do lose it, there is that potential we could have some more downside come in here. Now, if we do lose that, then what we would be potentially arguing is that we are still looking for this C wave, possibly looking to actually sweep this low here and come down towards this 1-to-1 at this 382 level. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.